Hey guys, I think we're live.
Welcome everyone. We should be live now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning to our friends in Europe. Good afternoon and evening to our friends in Australia. And if you're watching this from the States, then I guess you're a crazy night owl. Right? I also have, as per usual, the same video. This video always starts playing like with a 10-second delay in the background whenever I start these lives. Okay, how's everyone doing? See, there's a number of you guys tuned in already. So if this is your first Timer Tuesday, welcome to this challenge. It's a free weekly challenge that we started 3 weeks ago, where the goal is to loosen up, basically, and just to start painting without worrying too much about perfectionism, about creating like a super polished final design. Basically, the idea is that we choose an image every week, and you set yourself a timer. We roll with 1 hour, but if you want to go plus or minus a little bit, that's up to you. I think 1 hour is like a pretty good sweet spot. And then basically you just try to paint it as quick as you can. So you don't get caught up in the details. You don't worry too much about perfecting it. It's just about really studying the shape, understanding it, and trying to paint it. So yeah, I'm assuming many of you guys will have been here last week already, so you understand the whole procedure of it. But welcome to all the new faces. And with that, David is now going to paint you a masterpiece, and it's going to be on a set the expectation.
Love the pressure. So yeah, hey guys. So as Fabian says, this is going to be an hour for us. I'm actually going to set myself a timer right now in Google's timer 60 minutes. If nobody knows that, you can just put timer 60 minutes and press enter, and it starts. Starts now.
Google.
So yeah, I'm already a few seconds behind. So I'm going to start sharing my screen, guys.
Cool.
Today we are doing this over YouTube. We've been doing this over
Facebook Live.
Facebook Live for the first few, but I was not able to paint. It was too much lag and show my screen. So there's still a bit of lag now, but I should be able, I think, to.
Well, hopefully this should work a whole lot better. So I'm going to put you on presenter mode, and I'm going to hide my webcam.
Yeah. So today we're putting.
Yep, I can see your screen.
Today we're putting the scene. And I really like it. I'm going to try to use a few layers. Maybe I'm going to split up the sky, the ocean, and the boat into like 3 parts, or have at least like the ocean and the sky in one part. Probably going to do that actually. So yeah. So usually what I try is to pick the colors from the color wheel. So now that you guys can actually see this this week, what I'm doing.
Oh yeah, right. That's way better. We can actually see your whole interface.
So yeah. So I'm trying to just guess the colors by eye, or get as close as possible. It's just going to give me a good practice to basically identify colors. I'm going to find the water, which I'm going to start to do it something like this. It's going to need something a little bit darker around here. I'm going to use a saffron brush to kind of have like some sort of a gradient for starters. Maybe a little bit more blue. Something like that, I guess. And yeah, that's for the second layer. And then I'll try to sketch an outline of that boat. And once I have like those basic ones, I'll be able to start rendering them with a little bit more ease, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So
makes sense. How are you gonna use a selection for the boat, or are you just gonna kind of?
I'm gonna try to guess the color. I mean,
no, I meant for the shape of it. You're just gonna kind of block it in by hand.
Yeah, I'm gonna block it in by hand. I'm just gonna try to get as close as possible. So for people that already saw our free class that we have on Paintable, paintable.cc, there's a free class you can go in.
The 1 week portrait.
Exactly, where I can talk. I talk about measurement and how to set with measurement. Basically, I do a lot of looking at space in between things, like the space here and where the ocean stop, and gives me all that, those small indication of where. And
it's all about trying to like use one element as like a measuring stick for another element, I guess, kind of.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Like to see how all the measurements match up.
Yeah, like I know that the boat goes around here, so I can just like kind of do this, and that should give me.
And so I noticed you're going with a fairly, because so much of that boat is lit up, you're going with a fairly dark brown there, dark grayish brown.
I'm trying to go with something in between. Like you can see there's like very dark parts in the shadows and very light parts. So with something that's like in between, I'll be able to reach both of them. It's always good to start with something that is mid value, yeah.
With like a slight, maybe like slightly on the darker side of mid-tone.
Yeah, I guess so.
I've been
eyeballing it, so.
Yeah.
That precise. I'm going to try to get the right shape of it as close as possible.
Welcome everyone in the chat. We have Che Moore, Danny, Melinda, and Tony who tuned in, as well as Marley who's saying hi from Australia. Really happy I can see today's one live. Welcome. Yeah, I realized the ones before. Or there's for us, we can never get it perfect so that every time zone can watch, unfortunately. But yeah, thought this would be nice for you guys. And sorry to everyone in the States watching this. Probably tomorrow morning. But
yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna start by doing the background. If I were to do something traditional, I would just do the background first. Kind of going to do the same kind of thing. I don't have usually brushes like concept art brushes, like such as cloud and stuff. But I think I have one cloud brush that I could maybe use. I think it's this one to just help me with having some textures in the background. Just paint those clouds. That's going to make me save time. So that's always fun to have when you have a few of those that you can play around. So I'm going to save a lot of time.
Do you remember where you got that one? Probably not, huh?
I don't. Absolutely not.
One of the many thousands.
Exactly. And then I'm going to try to place those more lit up cloud here. I'll have to probably go by hand if I want to have more realism, but for now, just doing a little bit of white here. It's going to do the job. And so the goal, obviously, of that, just to repeat ourselves, is to not spend more time. It's to give you like an hour or something close to an hour. Just try to push it as close as possible without overdoing the perfectionism of it, and see how you can do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Seems not about the right color. And I like to use like different tools. Like right now I'm going to use the lasso tool to just get something crisp to make these small islands in the background.
I want to point something out at this stage that we've mentioned this a few times throughout the last ones, but I think it's such an important point. Because at this stage, like everything's looking so basic still. It looks like almost kind of like a kid's drawing, right? Because you've only just put like all the basic shapes in. And I think this is a stage where a lot of artists maybe like almost kind of panic a little bit because it's like, oh my God, everything's looking so bad. So they go straight into the details in some parts. But just notice how David's still really just taking his time to get all the basic blocks in, no details anywhere yet. And just have faith that he'll be able to make it look good once you put the details in afterwards then.
Lots of faith.
I have so much faith in you right now, David.
So yeah, so I'm just gonna try to deal with the pressure then.
Good morning, Presquita and Weo also. Presquita is asking whether we're gonna do this Tuesday challenge in December. We're gonna try to do it every week. We've got a bit of a crazy schedule these next few weeks, especially for David. It's gonna be kind of difficult. So we're going to do our very best. There may be 1 or 2 sessions we won't be able to do live, or we'll have to maybe just figure out a different format for.
Yeah.
The times may also kind of jump around a little bit. As of January, we're gonna be doing them fairly regular at a regular time each week again, which makes it easier for you to plan them in, I guess. So just bear with us in December. It's going to be a little more difficult, but we'll try our very best.
Yeah. Overall, we want to make sure that 2018 is going to be full of those. We have different ideas. We want to make sure to be more present in the community. But yeah, Christmas season is always a bit of a hectic moment for everyone, I would say. So yeah, for this one, usually I paint only on one layer, but because it's there's so many like different planes, I'm trying to use more layers right now to just have the possibility to go back later on. So yeah, trying to paint more details.
How's the lag, by the way? Seems to be much better, huh?
Better. It's still lagging a little bit, but it's better. Now for the clouds, it's always difficult. I'm just going to try to have some art edge because that's what the thing is missing really right now. Just some few art edge. I'm not going to go too much in detail, but just adding some art edge is going to help the eye to see those clouds. And I might try to something just a tiny bit darker. You can see when there's like more dark spots here. At the bottom of it. Yeah. I cannot go too much in details right now. I'm kind of losing myself because it's like small details. I want to make sure that we have like a little bit to see from a distance, but I don't want to go too much in it. Mm-hmm. Just making sure to have some visual.
Give me just like 30 seconds. I'm gonna quickly mute my mic, and I'm just gonna share this to our Facebook. So keep everyone entertained for a minute, David.
What are you gonna do?
I'm just sharing this to our Facebook group, so people there can join in too.
All right, sounds good. So yeah, so right now I'm just gonna try to paint just a little bit more details, not too much. My goal is not to have perfect clouds, but just to have it from a certain distance, it looks okay. If I had more time, then I would go back at it and just add a lot more details than this. But for the time being, I think from a distance, it already looks okay. Just going to try to add this kind of white spot. Over here. That's a bit too sharp. I'm going to take the saffron brush. I think it's going to help to do this part. Sorry, guys, if you are doing comments right now on the chat, I can't really see it. Fabian will be back in a minute. So if you have any questions, you can still put them in the chat right now, and I'll make sure to try to answer them as soon as Fabian is back. All right, so background looks okay for now. There's still some little details I could add later, but I think I'm going to hit the water now to just add a little bit more of detailing into the water. I'm a big fan of just sometimes trying some random texture. I'm going to use this one just to see what it does. Might work, might not work, but I'm just curious to see if I'm just going to be able to just use like just a basic texture to help me start with adding some visual interest. And then I'm going to make sure that stays in the water. And kind of looks weird for now, I would say.
Oh, that's looking really weird.
Thanks, Fabian.
Oh, that's looking terrible, David.
Thanks, man. You're always
here to push you. Here to push you.
So yeah, just going to delete a bit of the parts. That's definitely was too much. And probably going to use the saffron brush to try just had the reflection of the sky. Basically, I can use the color of the sky because obviously the color is reflecting the sky. So if I mix those two, it should give me like that white feeling of it, just like that. but then I'm definitely gonna have to play with that. Oops. It's funny, sometimes my shortcuts are not working for some reason. Oh, it's because I'm in shape, that's why. I think. So anyway.
Rookie mistake.
Well, you are useful today.
Sorry, I only just woke up just over an hour ago. Still waiting for the caffeine to kick in.
Well, thanks for your professionalism. That's
So what's the idea? Is just to basically just to create
some texture right now, just to make sure that like I have like a base, because really the what's the visual of this this image is really the boat. So I'll try to put more interest on the boat. So right now I just want to create some sort of a texture with trying to find a shortcut if you want. Yeah, so I'm looking at the brushes that I have. Obviously, they're not all working. So I'm just trying to see if there's something working that I can just magically paint with.
To kind of magic in the waves?
Yeah, exactly. Just trying different textures, see what works, what doesn't work.
That one looks kind of, maybe if you like squished that one?
Yeah.
Like did on a new layer and like transformed it and squished it?
That's a good idea, actually. Just gonna try to maybe do this.
Yeah, that one's all right. So question from, oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Question from Marley asking, in an hour, about how long would you spend blocking in the basic forms versus painting details?
Well, you just saw that the basic form I really like. I didn't spend that much time on it. So I don't know, like this one is really, it's an exercise, right? If I were to do like that, like just as a painting, I would just take my time and just, yeah, just take my time basically. But if you are, and okay, I'm having a problem here. If you, what's happening? Okay. No, okay.
What's going on?
If you are painting that, I would say take your time for the basic form. You want to make sure that your proportions are right from the start. Otherwise, you're going to have trouble later. So make sure your proportions are right. That's going to help you a lot. So take more time at the beginning to make sure that proportions are correct or as close as possible, and then you'll have more fun doing this. Otherwise, it's going to look crooked the whole time. And even like you saw at the beginning when I had only 3 layers, like even now, like there's a little bit more details, but the boat makes it looking like really blah. And at the beginning, it's looking blah, but at least if you have the good proportion, when you're going to start adding details, then you'll be fine. So that's why it's important. So for the boat, I'm probably going to try to add, once again, some texture. It feels like it's a bit bluish, that like shadow. Like I feel like it's almost like that kind of color. Sort of, yeah.
So a question from Danny, asking, can you guys maybe also in one of our future live videos do one on realistic hair painting?
Hair painting? Well, I want to say that I could try to do a portrait at some point. It's going to be hard to go to full realism. Like it's not the goal of this challenge, guy. The goal of this challenge is really to basically have loosen up and not go carry too much about the details. So just to have a basic good painting. Like it's like if you spend an hour and you push it as far as possible. We do have a channel on YouTube though with like tutorials on how.
Well, this very channel right here.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have. There's 1 or 2 on painting hair in this channel. If you want to have a look in there. In terms of realistic hair, I think so. The ones on our YouTube channel are about like understanding the basic forms of hair. We actually was it a month or 2 months ago now? We actually spent ages. David created a huge, very, very in-depth course. It's actually one of our, in my opinion, one of our best and most in-depth courses in our academy, our digital painting academy, that's purely on realistic hair. So it really pushes a lot further into the realism of how to get like the individual strands, how to paint like the hyper realistic little macro details. Also cool things like painting backlit hair. So if you're interested in that, I can really highly recommend that course for sure. Yeah, but yeah, we can maybe, yeah, like David was saying, do a Timer Tuesday on portraiture also. I think one of the reasons we've kind of shied away, not shied away, but we've decided not to do portraiture is because it is obviously a lot more difficult. And like, if you get the proportions off even just a tiny bit, it can really screw up the whole portrait. So when you're under that like time pressure, it's just an extra bit of pressure.
Yeah.
So it's something bewildering, but sorry, what?
Even the boat, like right here, like kind of seeing all the proportion, I've been like kind of wrong. It's still gonna look like weird, even if it's portrait or not. Portrait are always really important to have from the beginning. Right now, I'm just trying to make sure they're close as possible, but obviously, I'm gonna have to go back later to try to fix them all again. But yeah, portraiture is actually one of the things that I really love to do. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I would be definitely interested to do one for you guys. So yeah, maybe let's say maybe the next one, but definitely one in the future. I'll do like maybe a portrait. But we already, like Fabian was saying, have a material when it comes to portraiture on our channel that will probably go more in depth than this exercise that we're doing right now. So yeah, let's try to add the light now.
Welcome, Bob and Ole, just both tuned in. Welcome. Hope everyone's doing well. What's going through your mind right now, David? What are you?
I'm just thinking that I'm gonna have to add lots of details if I want that boat to look realistic. Lots of details in the woods. Right now, I'm just adding like, trying to just nail the, adding some texture with like random brushes to help me later on, so I don't have to paint too many details and have something that looks like realistic. But I'm just making sure that maybe the light is okay to start with it. So yeah, that's what's going on in my mind right now, making sure that I also try to follow like the brush stroke that I'm doing the same movement as the wood. That's also going to help me. So instead of painting like this, for example, I know that the wood's like that. So
to get that grain in.
Exactly, just like trying to play with.
That's cool. That's just brought in a whole new level of like realism, getting that light wood in.
And I feel like it's missing some blue, little bits in places, some reflections. So.
How are you finding this image compared to the last two?
It's really hard. I don't do much of poor environment these days. I'm really more like focused on portraiture and human figures. But I like it. I think I would love to get more time to do those. So I think it's a good exercise for me for sure. And it's gonna be fun. 2018, I'm planning on doing more environmental paintings. Therefore, I'm being able also to teach more of them.
Yeah. We have, to all the Academy students watching right now, we have the painting trees, leaves, and foliage, I think it's called, tutorial coming out tomorrow. So I saw a number of you guys had already done. Last week we released a class on painting landscapes. I saw a number of you had followed along with that already. Some really great results. So big well done to everyone that's done that. Very impressive. Some of them looked like almost better than the result from the tutorial. It's pretty cool.
Talented students. So yeah, I'm trying also to put like all the different colors. Like the wood is not just one color, so I'm trying to add all the colors. But really, right now, everything is really loose. I'm going to get after that a little bit closer to try to add more details to it. And right now, 24 minutes in, so I'm going to try to not spend too much time on details. I'm going to try to add some of the white that's in the water right here. Another brush for that, maybe. So yeah, it's always fun to have like a few more brushes when you do, especially when you do environment design. I found when you do portraiture, you can have like your favorite brushes, and it's going to be fine. But when you do environment, to have all the textures are going to add a lot. So if you don't want to have to paint them by hand, one by one, having different texture brush is going to save you a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think I got a good base here. I can start maybe trying to just make sure that this boat is sharper.
Have you ever painted water before, like waves?
Not that I remember of, no.
I'm sure there probably are some good brushes, like specifically for that exact
Probably.
angle and effect.
I'm sure there's a technique. That's one of the reasons why in 2018 I want to put myself more into environment design and find those tricks.
Mm-hmm.
Find those brushes, maybe create a few. Just find more tricks.
So is anyone following along with us live today? Last time we had a number of people painting along live. Anyone doing the challenge with us?
That's always cool.
We have Suvajit was saying, wow, loving how it's coming to life. I think adding that, like the planks to the boat, really just blocking in the basic shapes of the boat really did make a big difference.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why I wanted to put them on layers.
Yeah.
So I can it takes more time. And obviously, what's the important thing now? It's the soft edge versus hard edge. Right now, it's going to be important for me to just nail to have like a few. Right now, it's looking very loose, and I'll need to just add the few details, just going there and just adding some
crisp up the edges.
Crisp edge, like a few places to make the boat pop a little bit more, I would say.
Especially around things like the silhouettes, I guess it's especially important. Like inside an object, the texture of it. Obviously, like when you look at the photo, all the details are crisp, and you want to eventually, if you're painting like a fully finished painting, you want to make sure all the details are crisp. But I guess when you're going for speed, it's more important to get the silhouettes, the edges of the silhouettes crisp, and leave the detail edges till the end.
Yeah. So trying to add just a little bit more crispness, like over here. It's going to be important.
A little bit more crispness.
Is that a word? Is that a word?
Crispness? Yeah, I think it is. It just sounded like you said Christmas. A little touch of Christmas.
It's almost the season, so why not?
Is that Santa sat behind the camera on the boat?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's an idea. Maybe we should do a Timer Tuesday where I paint like a Christmas themed.
Yeah, that's a good idea. What would you paint?
Well, probably Santa Claus, I guess. It's kind of a classic. And I like to do it. A few years ago, I did one that was hipster, kind of.
Hipster Santa.
Hipster Santa, yeah.
That was at the very beginning. That was like a month or two into the very first tutorial we ever made.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
So yeah, at this point, I'm just trying to make the boat look good, adding a little bit more of those visual interests. I'm probably going to add some cracks later And that's going to help a lot, I think. It's going to bring the boat to the surface, to the image. It's going to be easier to read after that. I'm trying to spread my time all over the image, so I have a general interest, visual interest. It's not just at one place, basically. And it's really like, it's those small details, like, those small changes in the values that if you take your time to put, like what I'm down doing, if you take your time to put, it's going to make a huge difference at the end. And it's to practice your eye to see those things, basically, I feel.
Do you have some sort of like system for picking which areas of the painting, like which details you focus on first, or does it kind of just...
With the time issue right now, no, I'm really just like literally going randomly over my eye. But it's always good to remember that the things that your eye is going to see the most is contrast, right? So you got contrast between two things. You got contrast between values and you got contrast between colors. There's a lot of contrast between values at the dark area versus the white area, and if you do those properly, it's going to attract the eye a lot, and that's where the visual interest of your image is going to be. So such things like, I'm going to try to actually add a few more now. So having a crisp edge, also like a crisp edge versus a soft edge, is going to do the same thing. So that's why it's important to have the balance between the two. That way, your eye is going to be attracted to those different...
What do you... I'm pretty sure I know what you mean, but just for beginners, what exactly do you mean by the balance between the two?
Well, what I mean is you need to have both. If you have only crisp edge everywhere, then it's going to be too busy. You won't be able to direct the eye. Like, basically, you want to tell a story with your image, right? You want to make sure that people go through your image and there's a flow to it. If you have only crisp edge, then your eye is going to try to catch everything at the same time. But if you have softer edge and crisper edge at some areas of different places, then the eye of the viewer is going to move into the image. And basically, that's what you want to try. You want to try to guide the eye of the viewer inside your image by adding some points of interest. And the point of interest are such as contrast. Contrast in the different ways.
So what would you, in this painting here, what would you say are some of the points of interest?
Well, definitely, you see, like what I mean by that is, and thank you for making me like, I have an hour to do this, Fabian. Do you know? Come on.
So if it takes you completely off track, then...
Like here, there's a lot of... I need to create it. Down on top of it. Here, there's a lot of interest. You see, there's a lot of contrast between high values, dark values, contrast between the two, sharp edge, softer edge into the texture of the wood, and that's what I mean. Like, all of that makes it very, very interesting. But also, the edge between the water and the boat is one, and the edge between the background and the sky, I mean, and the water is one. All of those make your eye go and see different things. So you see the boat at first, because the highest contrast they get into the values is around the boat. You got the very high contrast in the very low value and the very high value, and that makes a huge contrast. And then you have less of that here, but you still have into the colors, into the contrast of the mountain. You see like a huge sense of interest here. So that's what I mean. Is that a good explanation for you?
Yeah, no, that was very well explained.
Thanks.
I'll let you get back to your painting now.
Okay. So yeah, but obviously there's a lot of details. I'm trying to like figure out which one I can put in the time available that I have. What I want is to have as many detail possible. So this painting is interesting to look at, even though it's not going to be a finished product at the end. Still want to have something interesting to look at. So, so that's what I'm trying to do here while you distracting me.
Just sabotaging you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was going to say I think the black wooden planks, once you get those silhouettes into shape,
Yeah,
that's going to make a big difference.
Yeah. Also, all my proportions are all like crooked right now, and I can't really spend time on that because I don't think I'll have time.
It's not crooked proportions. It's style.
Exactly. Thank you.
It's your interpretation.
Exactly.
Own your mistakes.
Yeah. Happy mistakes. Happy mistakes. So yeah. So you see, adding just those little cracks already, I think, adds a lot of visual interest already. And from there, and I can see that should be around here. It should not be around there. So at this point, I'm just going to interpret it differently, like adding some cracks here. So it's not exactly the same, but at least I'm kind of approaching it the same way it is by adding those cracks.
Mm-hmm. So Marley's saying, thanks for explaining the points of interest.
You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. I like to teach. It's always hard, though, for me to paint and to talk at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm getting better at it.
Oh, you're doing a pretty good job. I would absolutely just freeze up and not be able to get any sentences out. Bob's saying, wow, this is so cool. I've increased my screen size to 32 inches and I can see so much more detail. I remember Bob posted about that this morning in the community. You bought a TV, a large TV, and hooked your computer up to it.
That's an awesome setup. I remember like years ago I was working with a 27-inch and I totally miss it. Like I wish I had. It makes a huge difference, especially when you work with creative medium and do illustrations or photography or video, anything that is like art related.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a huge difference, I think. So yeah, I'm trying to add some points of interest at a few places. Like I said, at this point, I'm not even trying to follow exactly what the picture is. I feel like I'm already too off. I would have to move too many things. But if I just get inspired by what's there, then I'll be able to create something that is close enough, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So adding some cracks. And you can see that all those cracks are really helping the visual interest that you have, because now there's more details on the boat, and therefore it's easier to look. And one thing I'm going to help for the boat here is I'm just going to take a saffron brush, and I'm going to take the dark color here. I'm just going to paint a little bit more of the dark color over the edge here, which will make the edge between the boat and the ocean just that more crisp. So that's another way to add.
You painted that underneath the boat, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I
can more contrast.
So I can have like a little bit more control over this.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, the touch of red, that scarf at the bottom is really important, and I'm going to add it at the end. I'm just trying to add more interest right now. But
one big key difference I'm still seeing is the value and the color of the planks at the bottom are much lighter.
Light, huh? Well,
yeah,
I'm a trick for that. You see, once you already put some values, just use a overlay layer and add some white to it, and then just paint on top of it. If you want to add a little bit of color that could help, like I feel like this maybe
slight yellowish tone, maybe.
Yellowish, so adding just a little bit of either orange or yellow, it's going to add a little bit more.
Yeah, it's looking closer.
I think that's already better, right? I'm painting all over it just to see, but I think that's already better. Right?
The plank, the side of the boat also is
like over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's already better. I'm just going to take that and make sure that we're going everywhere. And then I can merge that with the boat. I'm on a boat. So yeah, how much time do I have left? 20. That's good.
The pressure's on.
Pressure's on. So yeah, I'm going to paint just a little bit more of those crackety-crack details.
The what, sorry?
Crackety crack details.
Crackety crack details.
Yeah.
Cracking details.
Exactly.
Marley's saying colors in the planks is way better with that. Yeah, no, definitely agree.
Yeah.
If you're still unsure, by the way, a lot of people about like what exactly each of the, how to use the color, not the color, the layer overlay modes. Just a lot of trial and error, I think, is one of the best way to figure out, like the way that David knew exactly to go to a multiply one. I know, or was it multiply or overlay? Sorry. Just sometimes you get like, the more you use them, I guess you start to get a feel for how they'll change things. I mean, some are quite obvious, like color dodge. But if like, don't worry if you don't know exactly which one to use in which situation. Just
try a bunch. Yeah.
Try a bunch, exactly.
So yeah, so as you can see, like I could spend a lot more time with details, but I think at this point it's already like there's already some visual interest at a bunch of places. So I'm pretty happy with the results, actually.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm honest, and I am honest. So.
All right. You painted some cracking details.
Crackety crack details, yeah.
One big thing. Do you want me to point out things that I'm noticing?
Yeah, definitely. You know what, guys? That's what I was about to say. Like, you see what Fabian is doing? It's something that I keep telling everybody to have. Basically, ask for critique, guys. Sometimes when you paint on something, there's a lot of things that you can't see anymore. Like, there's a lot of details that I don't see when I'm working here. Maybe he's seeing something here, and maybe like I don't care about here, but he cares. And so his eyes will help me to get that image much better. So yes, please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you end up developing like a blindness to mistakes and things, and that's why often when you finish a piece of work, and then you share it to everyone, and then you look at it the next morning and you see like a super obvious mistake.
Yeah.
It's because you literally couldn't see it the day before. I'm noticing the black stain on the plank, the second from the top. The plank at the bottom of the boat, the second one from the top has like a big black stain on it on the left side.
Here, what? Right here?
No, at the very bottom of the boat.
Very bottom.
Like the literal. Okay, so the actual, I don't know what the word for it is, like the bottom of, not the side of the boat, but the bottom of the boat. At the top, the second plank from the top.
Here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, what about it?
There's like a big black stain on that one, on the left side.
On here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just those black stains in general, I think.
Yeah, trying to.
We got there eventually.
Yeah.
Is there a name for the bottom of the boat? Like the floor of the boat? I'm sure there's a more technical name than that.
Is there any pirate in the audience? Please let us know. All right, I'm just gonna try now to add some more details for the rest of the minutes, like the scarf and stuff like that.
And the big black stain that you still missed?
What, did I miss it again? No.
Well, you got the plank above it, but the one underneath it is. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I see it. See, I was not seeing that at all. What a good example.
Really?
What's that? Zero seeing it. So something like that, I guess. It's already better.
Yep, so Marley was pointing that one out too. Oh, and Bob's saying it's called the deck of the ship. Yep, that sounds right.
Absolutely.
That sounds a lot more technical than floor. Floor of the ship.
I knew we had a pirate in the audience.
Or it's a boat, not a ship, I guess.
All right. So yeah. So see, even the red is just too orange right now. Just trying to put more red. And then add.
Also, once you're done with that, a big difference I'm noticing is the angle on the right of the boat is sloped much further down in yours than in the picture.
Yeah, I know. I saw that since the beginning, and I let it slide because yeah, time. But yeah, if I were to spend more time, I would definitely do it, but I don't think I want to spend time on that for now. I just want to finish the rest of the detailing. Because at the end of the day, I think this Timer Tuesday is going to be more like an interpretation of the image more than the image itself. But even that part is just too thick and not long enough.
I mean, that seems okay to me. I think it's just the angle of the right is throwing the perspective at the front of the boat a bit.
Yeah, maybe I can try to actually liquefy it afterwards.
That's a good idea. Show everyone a cool trick. So, a question from Bob, if you can think while painting the details. He's asking, do you think it makes a difference if you know or like the subject matter more?
If you like what you paint, you'll put more intention in it. I try some projects from time to time where I'm thinking I want a piece of portfolio to represent something. And if I don't like it, it's literally going to look like crap because I won't spend as much love into it. So yeah, if you like the subject, it's going to help a lot.
But I guess it can go both ways because on one hand, you're gonna have more fun doing it, and you might like know what that object looks like more. On the other hand, if you kind of push yourself to do something you've never thought about painting before, that could end up, pushing you. Because if you keep doing the same things over and over again, you start to develop like biases, I guess. Like you kind of you draw things the way you think they should look rather than the way they actually look.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
At the same time, that's a way that you could develop your style. I mean, there's nothing. I always like to say that there's nothing wrong or bad in creation of any kind, as long as you know that you're creating.
That's a very Bob Ross quote. You're just slowly starting to merge into Bob Ross.
How lovely is this? Yeah, just paint some beautiful trees. And did he add a quote that?
Well, happy little accidents is
I thought about it. Did you guys saw the new advertising for the movie of what's his name? This new Marvel movie, Deadpool. Yeah, Deadpool. Did you see it?
No, I haven't. No.
There's actually there's a movie. Let me know, guys, in the audience if you saw it. There's a Deadpool advertising, and he represents Bob Ross doing something.
Really, it's amazing.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that. I've only seen the Proco, where Proco dresses up as Bob Ross. That is amazing. Also,
that'd be cool.
I recommend you look that up if you haven't already. Proco Bob Ross.
All right, so now I'm going to merge the boat together. I'm going to try to modify it a little bit. So what you're saying is that this angle right here, right, is not working.
No, I was saying the angle on the right.
Like this angle?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that one, the one on the left, I think it's maybe a tiny bit off, but it actually looks pretty accurate to me. It is just the one on the right.
Okay, I'm going to just take how am I going to do this? Wait. Let's see, this one's going to be harder, actually. Wonder if I liquefy it, but then again.
Would it not be easier just to paint it because it's such a small.
Yeah, I could paint it as well, actually. But
you want to show off some cool
tricks.
Cool tricks.
If you guys don't know liquefy is awesome. I'm just going to try to replace it. It's supposed to be more like this, I guess, and then that's supposed to be like that, and like that, and like that, and like that. Better?
Better, but it's more the angle on the right of the plank just needs, it's too steep, like too angled down in yours.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make a copy then.
So that's the warp tool for anyone that
Transform
hasn't
tool.
used that before. Just do Control or Command T, make a selection, do Control Command T to go into transform mode, and then if you hold the Command or the Alt or Control button, I know from muscle memory which one it is, but I can never remember when I explain it to people. Hold that, and then you can drag the corners, the edges, to kind of warp your selection a little.
See that there's a piece of road.
Yeah, that's looking better already.
That's two. Should be more like that color.
Marley's suggesting to maybe flip the canvas to help with the angle.
That's great. Actually, I didn't do it yet.
Yeah, you haven't yet.
Great. See, she's absolutely right. It's still too.
Yep.
Still not working. I think it's the, you see, doing that now, I see that there's a difference between the two sides. Like this is supposed to be further away, I think.
Yeah, but that's quite minor. I think the angle is much more because the angle is just throwing the perspective of the ship a little, of the front of the boat a bit.
Like if I were to do like something like that, closer actually. And then the angle is that, yeah, I'm gonna liquefy it. I'm gonna bring it down actually. Oopsie, wrong tool. Right, just bring it down. It's gonna also transform the. There we go. I think that's closer. This needs to be sort of either sharper or smaller. I'm not sure. Yeah. I think that's better.
Mm-hmm. It's still a tiny bit down, but it's a lot better. It's a lot better. We'll let that one slide now.
Thank you, man.
Because you have so much time left.
Exactly. Okay, so at this point, I'm just adding some fun textures, a few places.
This has been an interesting one to watch compared to the last two, because there have been so many more details to this one than, like, say, the last one, the flower.
Yeah.
So it's really about prioritizing where to spend your time so much more.
Yeah. It's all about playing with the values. You see what I'm doing, like here, like I'm just adding some value on top of it. It's actually the wrong color though. It should be like more like some sort of a brownish orange sheen for this.
I only just noticed there's a ladder at the front of that boat also.
Do you see a ladder?
Is that a ladder? No, it's not a ladder. Kind of looked like it was. No, never mind.
Hallucination.
That's just the way it's cropped on the side.
Yeah. Usually those boat has ladders. It's those tie boat.
Mm-hmm. Do you see what I mean? Like that, the rungs at the very top?
Like this?
No, like at the top of the deck, where the deck stops and the front of the boat begins.
No.
Never mind. I'll let you focus on your details.
Thanks, man. I'll spend just the rest of the minutes making sure that I have lots of points of interest everywhere. Everything looks sharp. It's not really good. Like I could definitely spend more time on the water, but yeah.
Again, all about prioritizing. I mean, if you can kind of hint at the appearance of the water, then maybe if you add a few more of the way that you added like the squished effect for the lighter bits, if you add that for darker bits also.
Maybe, yeah.
That could make a difference.
Maybe I'm not sure. I don't remember the brush that I used though. I think maybe it was this one. Yeah, I think it was this one. So go dark, new layer. Push the formation. Maybe something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, add a few more of those, and that's looking much better already.
I think it's the white ones that we need actually. Maybe between. It should be more like.
So I'm gonna see what's happening in the chat. Get another quote from Bob. Saying, "How do you beat the devil out of your brush electronically?" It's a Bob Ross. Bob Ross got it. Beat the devil out of your brush.
Nice.
Let's see what else. Danny's saying most satisfying part. I'm assuming might be the liquefy that he was talking about.
The what?
He said most satisfying part. I'm assuming he might have been talking about the liquefy. Bob saying it's a great image to try as it's way more detailed. Oh, and Danny's saying don't forget the thin blue line on the deck.
The thin blue line on the deck. Is there
I'm not seeing that one either. Oh, that one, yeah, right. The
that rope.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't see that at all.
Neither.
That's crazy. You know, it's the details sometimes. You just don't focus in the right place, right? Good call. Good call. Nope. And I'm just probably gonna use that's here. Active.
That's the Hey Stylus tool.
Yeah.
A mouse or cursor smoothing tool.
Yeah.
Not mouse, cursor, I guess. I mean, I was going to say brush, but it works for more than just brushes. It literally just smooths your cursor.
Yeah, it works with the entire computer software, basically, like every software.
And Marley's saying maybe put a more distinct line on the boat edge. See how it kind of has two segments.
The boat edge.
Right, yeah, so the edge of the boat is kind of like halfway through the middle. Yeah, exactly where you were. It's like split halfway through the middle of that piece of wood.
Like, yeah, you mean like?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the whole length here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Somehow like this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. The parts. I'm probably having 3 minutes.
Go.
So what can we add in 3 minutes that's going to make the biggest?
Okay, the biggest change I'm seeing is at the very front of the deck? In the way like the plank ends and then it kind of descends into like that black space. There's the rungs coming from the side. The angle on those is a bit off. Yeah, around there, that whole area. I can't tell exactly what it is, but it just looks
that's where when I started, like, because I had so many details to cover, like I didn't play with the proportions right enough. And that's a good example, guys. You see, like, this is an exercise, obviously, so it's good to see what you missed and see what you could have done better. If that was being like an illustration I wanted to do like properly, I would have had to take more time at the beginning when I started to put my proportion of the planks, because that whole region here is all wrong right now. Like,
it is a little crooked
at all. Like, it's looking like it's like close, but it's not. Like, even like the angle of this here, That thing here is not the same.
Yeah.
Like all very close, but it's not quite there. So if I had took my time more, it would probably be better. Right now, I won't have the time to fix all those things. So
That's okay. That's the point of the exercise, is to paint for the sake of learning rather than a final outcome and like getting stuck and lost in the details.
But at the end of the day, like from a distance, it looks kind of almost.
Yeah, it looks fairly similar.
Fairly similar, definitely. So yeah, actually, I'm pretty happy. It turned out okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna add. I see like more spot here. Is not maybe spot like over here.
Marley said you did a solid job.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I was actually stressing over this one, to be honest. I didn't know. Like, you know, sometimes you just throw yourself like a challenge, and you're like, all right, well, here we go.
Oh, exactly. Look, at the end of the day, also now, I mean, you could have spent ages obsessing over getting the proportions and the perspective right there. But at the end of the day, 1 hour later, you have a very, like, not going to say finished, but like a painting that is a very developed painting, you know?
Call it a study. That's really what it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a pretty cool study, I think. I do like it. So yeah, at this point I'm setting like some few touches there and there, but I would call it this done actually. To be honest.
You might not like this, but you know when you widened the boat at the beginning?
Yeah.
I think it was better before, because now I think it was better before because your boat is wider than especially at the bottom. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's better. There you go.
All right.
All right, you guys. So that was the Timer Tuesday of today. Pretty happy with the result, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I think with just a little bit more time, you could have really a bit more liquefy, maybe just to push things into proportions. But like the details, it definitely reads exactly like the photo.
Yeah. Well, the values are a tiny bit off. Like it should be like I'm gonna put all those together. I'm gonna squish them on one layer, so I can play with the values a little bit. When I feel like it's missing maybe a tiny bit of contrast, so I'm just gonna play with that for a second here. I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of contrast in it. And just that bit of contrast. Like it's too much in the ocean, I think, but the boat is definitely good. So I'll just paint on the mask of the layer that I just created over the boat to just get back that contrast inside. It's going to help, I think. Yeah. And it's kind of there's also like a blue kind of filter. So maybe if I add a layer of color and I take a very like a very dark blue. Yeah, I feel like I were to paint just in those areas right here. Like I feel there's like some sort of bluish.
Yeah, it does have a bit of a bluish tint to it, doesn't it?
But yeah, that's detailing that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call it done for now. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. Like Fabian was saying, we're gonna try to be there in December. If we can't, be for sure that 2018 is gonna be full of those. We have so many ideas, so many more lives we want to do. But yeah, in all the cases, I hope you enjoyed this one. If you want this document so you can try it yourself, you can download it. Fabian is going to give you a link.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not already done. And
yep. So the link is underneath this video. You can download it there. There's also a file you can use once you're done to drop your artwork into there if you want to share it to the group. The link to the group is underneath this video also. So you can get some feedback. And remember, if you share it also, to give somebody else feedback. There's a quote from Danny actually, who just commented in the chat saying, good teamwork, I realize the importance of positive criticism now. And absolutely, I mean, that's one of the things we really try to preach is how useful critique is, obviously for the people you're giving critique, but also for yourself, the more you give other people critique, the more you develop your own eye, because it can be really difficult to spot these things in your own work sometimes, but by practicing it on other people's work, you're really gonna improve your own eye for spotting mistakes like a lot. So it's really a huge win-win for everyone. So yeah, we definitely can't recommend that enough. So yeah, have fun with this one. Like I said, it's underneath the video, so you can download it there. Share the results. Don't forget to tag it with the hashtag TimerTuesday. I hope you learned some things. Hope you enjoyed it. And oh, one last question from Marley before we end it, asking, David, do you ever come back to these studies and work on them further, or just leave them after the hour is up?
No, I don't come back to them. But the way I would see a study like this one, probably like in the case of the TimerTuesday, it's a practice only. But if I were to do studies like that, I would probably have a project in head. Let's say I wanted to actually draw an image of a boat on the ocean, then I would probably do a few studies with those images. So I would not come back on the study itself, but the amount of information I'm going to learn in those studies will be implemented in my final image, in my final project, basically. And that's the way you should approach a study, really. If you want to create something, do a lot of study of images that are related to it. You're going to learn a lot, and then you'll be able to implement that into your project. So just take what you learn. Don't try to push it to the perfection. This is a study, right? I already learned a lot of things right now. I learned how to do texture for my plank and save a lot of time, texture for my water, how to have that whole background really set up. Like this background took me like less than 5 minutes to create. And then I realized the importance to add small details, to add visual interest, right? So all those things can be added later on my final piece. And then that's where I would put my time, on the final piece, on the final portfolio. When you do a study, it's always nice, but it's always better if you have your own creative work that you can put the effort on.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's, yeah, like if you like the subject of what you end up doing, there's nothing from stopping you doing a few studies on it, on a few different things, and then you can make like one final piece at the end. I mean, if you want, after the hour's up, if you want to keep pushing it, obviously, definitely go for it. The danger is that, you know, the point of the study is to really try to force yourself into that time limit. So I think that can be very beneficial. So really try to hit that time limit first with the exercise, and then afterwards, if you want to keep pushing it, then go for it, of course. So yeah, no, that was a good question though, and well answered. So I hope everybody enjoyed that, and I think with that, we're going to let you guys get on with your day. Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing your paintings, and see you soon. See you in the community.
All right, guys. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.